Good evening and a warm welcome to our second seminar on an extremely important topic of electricity bills. Before we begin, let me say a few words about Moneylife Foundation and our activities. We are a 10-year-old NGO and our primary goal is to educate citizens and to help them become financially literate. We also take up matters that affect consumers and savers. So now to our today's topic, the electricity bills. We are privileged to have Mr. Shantanu Dixit from Pune. He is the coordinator of Prayas Energy Group. Over the past 2 decades, he has been working on range of issues related with the energy sector and the policy matters. We also have with us two of our own councillors, Mr. Ajit Shenoy, A.V. Shenoy and Abhay Datar. Mr. Shenoy is an engineer who worked with L&T for decades, and Mr. Datar is a banker who retired from Bank of Baroda. After retirement, both have dedicated their time in helping resolve consumer issues. Before we begin today's session, here are a few rules for everybody. We have kept every participant except the host on mute. This will help us all avoid unnecessary noises during the session. However, during the question and answer session, we'll unmute those who want to ask a question. For optimal viewing, we request everyone to keep the webinar on a speaker view mode so that you can see all the participants and the speakers. The entire session is being recorded and would be uploaded on our YouTube channel, that is youtube.com/MoneyLiveTV. And during the question and answer session, if you wish to ask any questions, please use the raise hands button available on Zoom. You can ask the question in English, Hindi or Marathi, and our speakers and the counselors will provide you the answers. Some of you have sent us your electricity bills in advance, which our experts have analyzed. Others who will have to email their bills to us for the analysis. But kindly remember, it is not possible for our experts to provide answers on individual billing issues without actually seeing the bill or checking the bill. So we request everybody to ask generic questions only. Over to you, Mr. Dixit now.
So it's a great privilege to be part of this Moneylife Foundation's program, and I've been following Moneylife's work for several years, and it's a very good moment, and I'm really happy to be part of this movement to empower consumers and further consumer movement in India. So I will just start sharing my PPT now. Today's topic is very important, and I'm sure all of us are facing this lockdown syndrome of very significant increase in our electricity bills, and we have seen that there are so many agitations, so many concerns about why the bill is so high. We are anxious to find out whether our electricity bill is correct or whether we are being charged for some excess electricity. So what I will try to cover in today's webinar with the help of few slides and examples of couple of bills in terms of detail analysis is how billing has been done during this period, and if we want to find out whether our electricity bills are correct, what is the way in which we can start analyzing those bills. So I'm starting my presentation. Are you able to see my slide? Can you just confirm that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I started sharing. Okay, great. So as the topic is your electricity bill really inflated, and how can you find out? So I will just share briefly about Prayas before I get into details about electricity bills. Okay, now I am slide 2, which is about Prayas. So Prayas is a non-profit organization founded in 1994, and Prayas Energy Group is essentially a policy advocacy group doing significant analysis in the sector, covering issues such as electricity regulation, trying to promote energy conservation through various policy options, looking at energy data, undertaking energy modeling, looking at renewable energy issues, issues relating to energy access and rural electricity supply. Another uniqueness of Prayas is we focus on governance aspects in terms of transparency, accountability, furthering public participation in the electricity sector decision making, and we also provide innovative policy solutions which can further this public interest. So that's the broad theme on which Prayas Energy Group works. Now coming to the context for today's webinar, as I was saying, for the since third week of March, there was countrywide lockdown, as a result of which, like many other utility services, electricity companies also could not undertake meter reading, especially during these months of um, April, May, and June. And as a result, they started issuing bills on what is called as average basis. I will come to that, what is average and why it is leading to certain kind of problems in terms of billing. But after relaxation of lockdown around June, electricity companies were allowed to send their meter readers and check and correct actual meter readings from consumers. And then probably sometime in mid-June, they started issuing bills on the basis of actual meter reading of consumers. Now, when consumers started getting these bills, it was really a big shock. Many consumers saw that their bills were 3 times or 5 times the usual bill or the bill that they had received last month. And as a result, there were several doubts about correctness of these post-lockdown bills. Many people started thinking about whether this is correct bill, whether I should be paying this. So this is the context. In this context, what Money Foundation felt, and Prayas also joined hands with Money Foundation, is to understand how bills have been issued during this post-lockdown scenario. And if consumers want to check correctness of the bill, what are the kind of steps or measures that they need to go through to really understand the correctness or reasonableness of the bill. So that's the context, and in the next few slides, I will try to take you through these steps in terms of validating correctness or reasonableness of the electricity bill. So the outline for this presentation is, first we'll talk about few basic concepts about electricity tariff, because those are essential concepts to understand how billing is done. Then we'll look at some typical complaints and concerns about these post-lockdown bills. And then based on certain information that utility companies or electricity companies are providing, we will see how to understand and check these bills for accuracy and reasonableness. So the first thing is, one question that comes to mind is, who decides the tariff? Is it the electricity companies are free to decide their own tariff, or who is responsible for regulating or governing electricity companies? Now, electricity companies and tariff is determined or is governed by what is called as Electricity Act 2003. As per this act, an independent body has been created, which is quasi-judicial body, which is called Electricity Regulatory. This regulatory commission consists of 3 members appointed by Government of Maharashtra, but they are expected to be independent members and function in independent manner, and provide the overall oversight and regulate functioning of electricity companies. Now, as per Electricity Act 2003, what is required is all electricity companies get under this cost plus mechanism, and their return, their profits are regulated. What it means is the regulatory commission allows these companies to recover certain revenue from consumers, and the revenue should be sufficient to meet all costs, which are prudent costs of the companies, plus they are allowed to get some return on their equity, which is typically about 17% on the equity that they have invested in the electricity business. So the point is, whatever revenue that electricity companies get, that is regulated. Some years get excess revenue, that doesn't lead to increase in their profits, that has to be passed on to consumers in subsequent years. Now, how the regulatory commission decides tariff? The act provides that there has to be elaborate process allowing consumers to participate in the process, and have a transparent process to ensure all data is public. Consumers have opportunity to participate in the process. So typical process that MERC conducts is, MERC calls for all cost details from distribution companies as well as generate companies. MERC undertakes detailed scrutiny of these costs, and then public hearings are held where consumers and other citizens are asked to participate and share their observations or comments. In case of MSCL, statewide utility, these public hearings are held at 6 locations. And after that, a detailed tariff order is issued by the regulatory commission. For example, in case of SCDCL, The tariff order runs to about 700 pages. So you can imagine the kind of details in the cost and provided in these orders. So in a way, I would say compared to many other infrastructure sectors in the electricity sector, the process is more transparent. It gives more information to consumers. There is one thing about the recent regulatory commission that I would just like, before we move on to details of tariff. Uh, Earlier, MERC had a very good practice of allowing consumer representative as per by the act, and this consumer representative are allowed to participate in the regulatory commission working. But since last 3-4 years, this practice has been discontinued. To a certain extent, it has limited consumers access and consumers participation in the working of this important regulatory commission. Coming to the issue about tariff. Now here is the table which shows typical tariff structure that is by the regulation. Now, what are components of residential tariff? During this webinar, we will focus on residential consumers fee. So, the typical components of a residential tariff are: one is fixed charge, which is determined as rupees per month, and irrespective of the level of consumption, this charge has to be paid. If you're hiring on the basis, then this is the minimum fixed charge you have to pay, whether you drive the car or no. So this is called fixed charge. Then there are three various charges. One is energy charge, second is wheeling charge, and third is fuel adjustment charge. So all these charges are based on rupees paid. That is all the consumption of consumer. If consumption is more, then essentially variable charges will vary, but the fixed charge will remain same. So these charges are the regulatory commission, that is MERC. On top of it, there are certain taxes and duties levied on the electricity bill. For example, for people outside Mumbai, there is electricity duty which is 16% on total bill. So which is the total bill would be component A, B, C, and D, and on top of that there will be the 16% duty that will be charged in the electricity bill, that is collected by electricity companies but passed on to government of Maharashtra, and this is determined by the state government. So these are essentially 5 components that determine our bill. Useful fact to know about electricity bills or components is this variable charge that I mentioned, the electricity charge or energy charge, that again varies according to the level of consumption. I have given table for DC charges. So you can see that for first 100 units of consumption, the charge is 3.46 rupees per unit. Whereas if your consumption increases, then for subsequent 200 units, that is from 101 to 300, charge is 7 rupees 43 paisa. That means if you consume let's 100 units, the electricity energy charges will be 346 rupees. If you consume 100 unit, for that 1 unit, you will pay additional 7 rupees 43 paisa. So these additional charges are applicable only for consumption during that slab. It is not on entire consumption. And the idea behind this is poor people, those who not afford high tariff, they should get some relief. This what is called as telescopic tariff, or slab system that is embedded into the tariff making process. Now here comes the shocker, I would say. Here are 3 cases that received after this lockdown was relaxed and utilities started issuing bills based on actual meter reading. In the first bill example that I have taken, you can see that during the lockdown, the typical bill was about 5,500 rupees per month, whereas after lockdown, the bill that this consumer received was 40,000 rupees. So it was really 8 times higher bill that this consumer received. And this is definitely not an isolated case. 2 other examples also are there on the screen. You can see that the bill was about 2,000 rupees, but after lockdown, based on actual meter reading, the bill that these consumers received was about 7,500 rupees. So 3 times to 8 times higher bills consumers have received, no doubt about it. I mean, that's a fact that we all need to recognize. But So once we receive these bills, then definitely we all have several questions in our mind. Whether I'm charged for electricity that I have not used, if I have used only 200 units, whether I'm being charged 400. That's the question that comes to my mind. Am I charged at incorrect tariff rate instead of residential tariff? Am I charged at commercial or industrial tariff, because those tariffs are far higher than residential tariff? Each consumption of all these months of last 3 4 months is clubbed in one higher slab. And so instead of I getting charged at 3.5 rupees for the first 100 units, am I charged at 1 rupees per unit for even those earlier consumption slabs? Uh, I have paid my previous bills. Last 3 months I have been paying bills, but whether payments are correctly accounted for. So these are the kind of questions that come to our mind when we see this kind of very significant and higher bill. So I try to see is to understand how do we go about checking all these parameters and to check if the bill that we have received is reasonable or no. So the first thing that we need to do when we suspect a higher bill is to look at and confirm that meter reading is correct. Because in most of the cases, 99% cases, I would say, primary cause of excessive billing is this raw meter reading. Second thing that we need to check is, are there any arrears or unpaid bills that are accounted or that are mentioned in the bill that we have received? It's possible that we might not have received earlier bill because of lockdown and we might not have paid our last month's bill, then that gets added as arrears in the month's bill. So that we need to check. And third thing we need to check is past payment consider. I might have paid bill last month, but that is correctly accounted for in the current month's bill. So these are the three primary things that we need to check the moment we feel that the electricity bill that we have received is high. Now, where to check and how to check these things? So if you look at your electricity bill, now this is example from MSEDCL's bill. There are very similar sort of data points or similar format of bill you will see for your other utilities, whether it is Adani Electricity or Tata Power or BEST, a very similar bill format find. Now there you can see, just shift to, yeah, there you can see that what is called a Chalu reading Dinanka. So it shows that what is the current reading date. So you can look at this date and you can look at what is current reading. So in this case, the current reading is 80,742. So then you can go and check your current reading of your electricity bill. If that reading is more than this current reading, you can be comfortable, or you can rest assured that this reading most likely is the reader has done. It can also give you, suppose this reading was taken on 3rd July and you actually receive bill and your actual meter, let's say of July, and you find that this reading has increased by 300 units, you can get a ballpark idea that okay, within these days you have consumed 300 units. So each day you are probably consuming 30 units. So it also gives you a sense of how much daily consumption. On the bill, you can also see that this bill is issued on a normal basis. That means it is not bill based on some estimated consumption or some average consumption. This bill also shows that this is the bill period is in this case is about 4 months, because last meter reading, as you can see, was on 3rd March and current reading is on 3rd July. So this consumption or this total units consumed during this period, 4,283 units, are for 4 units, 4 months that you can see. So here you can see that consumption has been 4.83, 4,283 units. So this is the first thing that you should, whether your meter reading is correct. If the meter reading is correct, then you can go to the second part of the bill, where you can take 2 other parameters that I mentioned. The first, again, here you will see that that is less average billing amount. So in this case, it is saying minus 15,000 rupees. So this again confirms that whatever bills were paid during lockdown months of 3 months period, those are duly accounted for in the bill. Then you can see what is total arrear. is there any pending or due amount that is included in this bill? Here you can see that is not the case. This is just 8 or 9 rupees, maybe because of some rounding of parameters. They are given actually credit of 9 rupees. So all three questions or all three checks that we started with, whether our meter reading correct, whether past payment is adequately considered, and whether there is any areas that we that are included in the bill. So all these three things can be very easily confirmed based on the bill and actual visit to the meter room or actual meter reading that we can go and validate. Now this also, the bottom part also shows that what is the last bill that we have paid and whether that is taken into consideration while arriving at this total bill. So all these parameters can be seen very easily from the bill itself. So in this case, what we see is there is no apparent error in terms of these four parameters. Meter reading seems to be correct, that I have confirmed from the concerned consumer. Past areas are not included. Past payment is included. So still we need to find out what is the cause of having such a high bill after the lockdown. So then what do we do about it? So here is the useful resource that is provided by distribution companies, and this is again based on the directive issued by MERC. When a lot of complaints started coming about excessive bills, MERC issued directive that all electricity companies must give very detailed calculation and calculator on their website, so that each consumer can very easily verify how the bill has been calculated. Here are the URLs, so I'm sure we will share the presentation and slides with you later. So you can go to these URLs of different utility companies, and once you go to these URLs, you have to simply enter your consumer number, and you will see a very detailed calculation of how these bills have been calculated, what is the methodology that electricity companies have used. Now this methodology again is specified or is as per the order of the regulatory commission. So once you go to this URL, you will find this kind of screen after you enter your consumer number. So the first part of this is the tariff as determined by the for different slabs. Then if you scroll down, you will consumer details removed from this. Then you will see this detailed calculation of 4 months, which is very similar to the information that is available on your electricity bill for these 4 months. What is the previous reading date, current reading, then units, then what is the status or the manner in which this bill has been generated. You can see that for first 3 months it was on average basis, and then for the last month it was on normal basis. And then there are very detailed charges of or amounts of each electricity bill component. Charges, electricity charge, billing charge. This is essentially the kind of a very detailed calculation that you will see on the calculator that is provided by this utility. Now I will go back to the PowerPoint and we will see how to analyze based on this detailed calculation, how to analyze individual bills. So here is the extract of this consumer's case. You know, the consumer which got this 40,000 rupees bill after initial bill of 5,000 rupees. If you go to this detailed calculator, this is the part B of the detailed calculations provided by MSEDCL. Now here you can see that the first part of the bill was from 3rd March to 31st March. And why that is split in this manner? That is because up to 31st March, older tariff was applicable, and after 31st March, new tariff was applicable. So the utility has to separate total consumption into consumption before 31st March and consumption after 31st March. So what the utility has done here is the consumption period during for the old March is about 0.94 months, that is this 28 days of March. So the total consumption during these 4 months, which was about 1800, or which was the total consumption as per the actual meter reading, that is split into these two parts. One is before 31st March and one is after 31st March. Now this before 31st March consumption was 985 units, because the total consumption was apportioned on a daily basis. And then here you can see this 985 units were further split into different slabs. Now 94 units for slab 1. Why 94 units? Because this was 0.94% of the total month. So out of 100, the tariff applicable for first slab was for 94 units. So here you can see that the slab wise benefit is given, as well as the benefit of older tariff is given, and that is provided in part B of the bill. So based on this, energy charges were 9,422 rupees. So that you can see how the tariff. So here you can see that for the first part of the bill, that is part B of detailed calculations. It show the tariff calculation up to 31st March, because for up to 31st March old tariff was applicable. After 1st March the new tariff was applicable as per MERC tariff order. So that amounts to about 94% of days of March, and hence you will see that this is 0.94 is the factor that the utility has mentioned here. Now the total consumption or total units consumed during these 4 months are then apportioned in these two parts of 0.94 months up to 31st March and remaining part after 31st March. So that comes to 985 units up to March as for this consumer, and then that is further split into different consumption slabs, as you can see here. 94 units are accounted for in the first slab because this is corresponding to only 94% of days of March. Similarly, it is split into subsequent tariff slabs. Then these units are multiplied by the tariff applicable for that particular slab, and then you get you get energy charges for that particular slab, and then total energy charges for that up to 31st March become 9,422 units. Now, if you go to second part of this bill, that is again second part of part B, you will see the similar calculation for remaining months of these 4 months, that is for 3.13 months, and the tariff or the units consumed during this month were 3,298 units. These are again split into different slabs, so it clearly shows that the slab wise benefit is given. And here you can see that the total energy charge for this post 31st March period comes to 32,487 rupees. So this 32,000 plus earlier screen we saw 9,000 rupees. So that total comes to 41,909 rupees, which is the total electricity charge that is reflected in your bill. So this at the bottom you can see a screenshot of the bill, and this is the calculation of this. These are the details of that 41,909 rupees that we see there. So the first query that people have in terms of whether there is adequate consideration of slab wise consumption, that you can verify from this part B of the detailed calculation. The question is whether there is adequate credit given for bills or amount that I have paid in 3 months. Now that is provided in part G of the detailed calculations that we saw. So here this table you can see that 3 variable charges, electricity charge, wheeling charge and fuel adjustment charge have been accounted for as credit in the post lockdown period bill. Now why only variable charges are covered and those are considered? Because fixed charges have to be paid every month irrespective of the level of consumption. So those charges have to be paid anyway, and hence there cannot be any credit for that. The bill adjustment is only for the total consumption, that is only for variable charges of the electricity bill or variable tariff. So through this part G, you can see that variable charges based payment that we have made in past 3 months, that is also accounted for as less average bill payment. So that again what we see in the bill of minus 15,000 rupees, the breakup of that is also provided here. So this again confirms that past period credit has been given properly. Now we come to the last part of this detailed calculation, and which I think is a very useful and a very interesting summary that is provided in these calculators. Now what is this last part? This last part essentially compares our electricity consumption as well as bill amount for last year, that is in this case, let's say April 2019 and April 2024. So essentially we can compare what was our consumption in the same month last year and this month, and what was the bill that we paid in, or that was charged to us last year and this year. So at the end of this, we'll see a summary that total of this 3 months, April, May, June and July, these 4 months, total units consumed by this consumer were 3,581 units. As against that, this year, total units consumed were 4,283 units. Correspondingly, bill paid or bill raised last year was about 47,000 units, and this year it's been 57,000 rupees. So essentially the consumption has increased significantly compared to last year, and similarly the total bill charged is also higher compared to last year. Now, here is the summary analysis that really helps explain what has happened. Here is the comparison of last year's consumption in terms of units, in terms of bill, and what was the average rate that was charged to that consumer. So here you can see that last year for this same 4 months, the total rate charged to consumer was 13 rupees 23 paise based on the consumption pattern. This year consumption has increased significantly, but the total rate, if you see, that is 57,000 rupees divided by 4,283 rupees, 83 units, then the rate comes to 13 rupees 36 paise per unit. So the difference between last year's and this year's consumption was 700 units. The consumption this year has been higher by 700 units, that is about 20%, and the bill is higher by about 20%, which is largely a reflection of increase in the consumption during this period. Increase in rate or increase in charges or tariff is hardly 1% during this year. So this last summary table essentially gives us a confirmation that the bill that we have received is essentially a rational or a reasonable bill. It is higher because of multiple reasons. We'll summarize that in a bit, but this is the kind of check or the process that one can adopt to confirm that the bill that we have received is reasonable and different parameters are accounted for correctly. Now here is similar case. I am just now not going into all those details, but a very similar conclusion you can draw from two other consumer cases that we looked at. Now here is the first is a consumer from BEST. Here earlier case that we saw, the consumption during this period was higher than last year. Here it's a reverse case where during this period or during this year consumption has been less than the last year's consumption. But still, if you see, the consumption reduction has been about 11%, reduction in bill or is about 13%. So there, in this case, actually there is reduction in per unit tariff by about 1.3%. So here again, you can see that there is no abnormal bill. Now for this consumer, before lockdown or during the last month of the lockdown, the bill received was 2,500 rupees, and post lockdown bill was about 9,800 rupees. So which was about 4 times the previous month's bill. But still, if you consider 4 months accounting, there is nothing abnormal or unreasonable in this bill. Similarly, there is another case just I have summarized here, that is of MSEDCL. Again, this is a case where this year's consumption has been less than last year's consumption, but this consumer got a bill of 5,500 rupees when the last month's bill was about 2,000 rupees. But here again, you can see consumption drop is 7%, reduction in bill is actually 9.5%, and the total reduction in rate at which this consumer has paid is about 2.6%. So here you see that the consumption and tariff both are reflecting what has happened vis-a-vis last year's consumption pattern. So here is the summary of this analysis. By July bill much higher than previous month, let's say either May or June's bill. Now what has happened is there are two primary factors which has led to this kind of excessive bill or apparently excessive bill. First is bills of April, May and June were issued on the basis of average consumption of previous 3 months. That is typically either from December to February or January to March, depending on the specific billing cycle for each consumer. Now, these are typically winter months, so the consumption of most residential consumers is less during December to February period, whereas consumption in April, May, and June, which are summer months, is usually higher compared to previous 3 months or winter months. So unfortunately, what happened here is the average bill was issued on the basis of lower consumption months, whereas the actual consumption happened was during high consumption period. And as a result, when the actual reading was taken, this consumption difference between average bill and actual consumption turns out to be very significant. As we saw in the detailed case that we saw, it was a difference of about 700 units increase in this period. So what happened is due to so this is one reason why the bill, post lockdown bill, has been significantly higher. The second reason is due to lockdown, longer stay at home, work from home. In many cases, we observe that consumption during April, May, and June has been much higher compared to last year or during previous months. In Prayasis, another initiative called eMark, which is again available, with details are available in one of the detailed report that we have published on our website. We observed that if households have air conditioners, they have shifted to stay at home or work from home, their consumption increases as high as 30% compared to previous year. If there is no air conditioner, still 10 to 20% increase is observed. So because of this lockdown phenomenon, again, our consumption has increased, and based on this average billing phenomenon, again the consumption and hence the incremental bill for these 3 months get clubbed into 1 month, and that's primarily the reason we see such increase in our electricity bill post lockdown. Now there are a couple of more points I want to make. Now, realizing that consumers may be facing this inconvenience and a very significant bill or high bill in 1 month, MERC, that is the regulatory agency, has stipulated that utilities can offer, or utilities for a 3-month installment facility to consumers, and that is without any late fee or any interest. So when consumers are unable to pay this sudden increased bill, they can pay this bill in 3 equal installments without paying any penalty or any charges for that. So essentially, the increase in bill or this incremental bill will get spread over 3 months. Now, all this methodology and approach that utilities are adopting is as per the methodology specified by the regulatory commission. So this is the way in which we can actually analyze our bills, and I would say that in most of the cases where we have verified claims of inflated or increased bills, in most of the cases the reasons are, as I mentioned during this presentation. In very few cases, when the bill is actually irrational or unreasonable, primary reason is wrong meter reading. If the meter reading is correct, then I would say I haven't come across many cases where actual bill is unreasonable or incorrect bill. And the reason for that is nowadays utilities do adopt 100% computerized billing system. So the software and the programming is same for all consumers. So if the meter reading is correct, then most likely the total bill is also going to be correct, but it's always a good practice to check it and go through this detailed exercise of validation of bill if the bill really appears to be significantly higher than what we expect. Now here are some useful links that one can visit or one can go through if someone is interested in getting more information about this methodology and calculations. So these are the links of the explanatory information provided by different electric utilities in the state, that is MSEDCL, BEST, Adani Electric, and Tata Power. So that one can visit. Still, if you feel that the bill is not correct, there is something wrong, after going through these detailed calculations, if certain parameters are not correctly taken into consideration, then again, as per MERC's directives and as per the provisions of Electricity Act 2003, one can approach utilities internal billing complaints mechanism. Number contact details of that are also given on each bill. Here I have taken one extract of BST's bill. If you are not satisfied with that, then one can approach what is called as Consumer Grievance Redressal Forum, which is again supposed to be a independent grievance redressal forum formed as per MERC's regulations. So the contact details and process how to contact these CGRFs is also provided on each electricity bill. In addition to that, if you need more information, consumers and citizens can visit Prayas's website. We have published one, this is last year's publication. We have published one consumer's guide for electricity services, which is available both in English and Hindi at this link, which provides far more details in terms of how to approach CGRF, what is procedure, what's required, how to run the case before CGRF, not just on the issue of wrong or inflated electricity bills, but many other service related issues that we as electricity consumers often face. So with this, I will stop here. This is the website of Prayas, where you can find other publications of Prayas in terms of our policy submissions and our research reports. And the second link here gives resources for consumers in terms of these consumer guides. There are some simple calculators and simple videos that we have developed, which can again further explain process of CGRF and grievance redressal. So those who are interested can take advantage of these resources also. So I will stop here. We are happy to take any questions or queries that you may have. Thank you.